This is Shawn Irwin, your youth director with Darts Ontario, and welcome to episode 22 of Darts Ontario Let's Talk Darts. I wanted to talk to our youth players from past and present to see how they got into darts and their story to help inspire the youth dart players of today. Thank you to our sponsor, SSS Canada, for all their support in the Darts Ontario organization. Go to their Facebook page to see the high quality custom dart shirts, which you can order for your team or individually. I'm with Rob Sibbick, formerly of the Brant County Youth Dart League and three-time Team Ontario youth member. Thank you, Rob, for taking the time to answer some questions so the dart community can know more about Rob Sibbick. And how you doing today, Rob?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, great. I really appreciate you coming on here and on the episode, and as we try to inspire the youth of today to play darts. So tell me, how did you get started playing darts, and how old were you?
So I started when I was actually quite young. My grandfather had me throwing darts at 3 years old. I wouldn't stay out of his way when he'd be in the hallway throwing his darts, and got introduced to the youth program when I was 5, and I played right through until I was too old to play the youth league.
Yeah, that happens. And who inspired you to play competitively? Was it your grandfather?
It was my grandfather, yeah. He was always at the board with me when I was throwing, teaching me combinations. He was always striving about working on the doubles, and because if you don't hit a double, you can't win the game, right? And that was his big thing with teaching me to play the game, but to have fun playing the game as well, and being a part of big groups of other players.
Now, tell us about your experience playing in the Brant County Youth Dart League.
Oh, it was fantastic. So I remember when I first joined the league, Jim Cowick was running, which Aaron had mentioned to you when I watched your guys' video there.
Yeah.
And he had said to me, Robbie, he says, if you got to hit the board, he says, go up, shoot a 180. I walked up, shot a 140, and was able to play. So that pretty much got me into the league, and just grew from there. Went through Tykes, juniors, seniors, right through the league, and had a lot of success and a lot of fun.
So did they have tight tournaments back then?
Yes, they did.
That's good. That's good. How often did you practice as a youth during the season and during the off season?
Off season, I was on the board probably 4 to 5 hours a day, because there wasn't much going on. I wanted to be a kid as well and just not be stuck on a dartboard. But during the winter months when school was in, I'd come home, throw for 4 hours every night through the week, and then Saturday, Sundays, I would get together with my best friend Jamie. He's another player that I grew up with, and we'd throw on the board for 12 hours on the weekends.
But that's what it takes to, do well in darts. And we'll talk about that soon as well. We all know practicing isn't as fun as a regular game, but how did you make practicing fun?
I played a lot of cricket. I had a computerized scoreboard. So when I'd play against that, it was all leveled through 7 down to 1, which being the best. And I would just constantly play using that. And I'd also use a deck of cards to practice my doubles. So like ace being 1 or 11, king 20, so on and so forth throughout the numbers. And you can mix it up a little bit too with your colors on the board so that you're not just throwing at the same number. And that was a big help for me to become more steady.
I think just throwing at triple 20 for 5 hours is just not fun. You have to make it fun and play some games and go around the board on doubles too. So
that's right. Yeah, if you like I said, if you can't hit a double, then you can't win a game.
Well, there's always that 180 curse. You shoot the 180 and you just can't hit a double.
Well, that's it, right? That's just it. I mean, you can shoot all the big scores you want, and my grandfather told me this, and I still live to it today. You can shoot all the big scores you want, but if you get down to that double and you can't finish, those big scores don't mean anything.
Now, how do you prepare yourself before a big match and getting yourself focused?
Just try to get myself in a mindset that, yes, there's a big crowd of people watching, but you got to think, it's just you and the board. You got to just put your focus into your game and try and do your best.
And that's just like when you're right up on the line. Darts is a very emotional game. So when you're at the line, you've got to be able to control everything around you.
That's it. Keeping your emotions in check is huge. When I was younger and playing, I'd get into a final and I'd be shaking and nerves and just not being used to being in that kind of spot. But as I grew older, it's not so much the nerves now. It's just I get sloppy once in a while.
Bad habits sometimes.
Yep, yep.
So what's the best part of competing for you, and what's the most important thing about the game of darts for you as well?
The best part of competing is obviously, you know, trying to be the best that you can be when you're in each match. I myself, I've made it more fun now. I don't compete as serious as I used to. I prefer just to go out, have some fun, hang out with the guys, throw some darts, and if I do well, then great. And if I lose, it's still fine too. I was there, you know, with my friends and enjoying the day.
Well, we don't always win, so sometimes, especially during a round robin game, you lose a match, and you know there's still some more matches to play, so you can qualify for the knockout round. Um, Anything different there about you staying focused during those games after a loss?
Just go to the next game. You know, if you're in a round robin with 7 or 8 guys, and you know you lose one game out of 8, it's, you know, you've done well. Even if you lose 2 or 3, you've still done well. You just want to make sure, you know, you try to be competitive and, you know, just play your game. Don't try to play your opponent's game.
Some great advice for sure. And some of the players I've talked to, youth and adults, have been able to be sponsor over the years. And any luck with yourself on being sponsored?
No, like I said, I stepped away from the game for quite a while. Just with work, family life, it's been tough. But now it's work's fine. I'm finally getting everything balanced out. So we're starting to, as you can see, I got my board lit behind me. I was playing here earlier.
Good.
We're getting back into her slowly. So hopefully, maybe in the next couple of years, we'll get competitive again.
Oh, that's great, because we all have provincials coming up to try and make nationals, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. Let's look at some of your results as a youth player back with Team Ontario. You made Team Ontario in 1998 as provincial champion, and then in 2000 and 2002 as a runner-up. Take us back throughout the final days at provincials in '98 and winning the junior male singles.
Well, there was a lot of emotion. I had my grandparents there with me, and they were cheering me on. Like, they were real big supporters for my darts. I never would have imagined playing my doubles partner on stage in a big final with a room full of 500 people. But it was magical. I mean, the darts, the quality between Aaron and myself was spot on. Really, the match could have went either way. Aaron, hats off to him. I mean, he played fantastic, and I would never take anything away from the way he threw. And then, 2000, 2002, just kind of just played and had fun, more or less. I was kind of already prone to being in the big show. So
You've already experienced being on stage, so you know, going back, and it's so hard to defend a title. To be able to go back the next year, and especially in Ontario, there's so many youth dart players, and only 2 players make it in that division. So let's talk about the 2000 and 2002 provincials in Ontario. Tell us about the experience at both events, and how was it on stage, even though being runner-up, which is huge.
It was fantastic. I finished second to Terry Hayhurst in 2000. Fantastic player, still is. It was more just just trying to get more experience being on the stage. Win, lose or draw, I was happy with how I played. I had made it there. That was my goal throughout the whole tournament, was just to play the best darts that I could, one game at a time, and get to the stage. Once I made it to the stage, that already made me a winner. So.
Now, next up was the Youth Nationals and White Horse Yukon. Aaron Johnson and yourself finished second in male doubles, and in singles, you also finished second. Take us back to your first Nationals and tell us about the amazing results and going to Yukon.
I never went to Yukon.
You didn't go to Yukon?
No, it was St. Hyacinthe in Quebec for Aaron and I.
Was it okay?
Yeah, we won that's where I think we finished second, if my memory serves me correctly, in the doubles, and I lost in the final in the singles to Team Quebec. 2000, really well. I lost to Terry, and that was in Edmonton. We had went there, and then 2002, I'm just trying to remember back. It's been a long time. 2002, it was in Northern Ontario, which I finished. I finished third in that shoot. So all three shoots, I was very pleased with how I played.
Yeah, you've done very well at the nationals for sure, and you finished first again in male doubles with Zachary Myatt, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you finished top 4 that year as well, but Zachary won it all during that nationals as well. So how was the overall experience playing at that last nationals?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was nice to see a lot of old faces from like all the other provinces around the world, like for Canada darts. It was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, it was a lot of my grandparents' support and help to get me to all these tournaments, to keep my darts up and to get into that competitive play. So that way the standard, because I knew going into nationals, the standard was going to be high. And if you're not playing at a high standard, and it's a very tough shoot to go through, and it can be very, very stressful on the mind.
For sure. And our website doesn't seem to have a lot of the some of the older provincial results. Take us back to some of the other provincials. We don't always make it every year on stage, but did you play a lot of provincials as a youth?
I played them all. Actually, when I was 7 years old, I got into my first Ontario provincial zone shoot. So I was already playing zone shoots before I had made the team when I was 12. It was crazy when I won it when I was 12. They weren't going to let me go to the nationals because of where my birthday fell in my age. I was actually too young, but my grandparents had stepped in and said, "Listen, we'll get him there. We'll take care of him. He just wants to play the game," which was all I wanted. And I was completely oblivious to what had happened because I was just playing.
You were 12 years old when you made your first nationals?
I was 12 years old. Yep.
That's incredible. That's huge for such a young man a young boy to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was all because my grandparents, like I said, they supported my darts constantly. Like there was always times we'd be throwing and Grandpa would be standing behind me. Well, here, try this, and we'd do it and we'd work away at it and just kind of tinkering with the game.
It's great to go down memory lane for sure. Is there any other success or memories of youth darts besides the what we've talked about?
Just the nationals. I mean, there was a lot of adult youth shoots and league singles, league doubles, a lot of traveling. I was able to get into a couple adult tournaments just to get that practice to going into zones and provincials. So that was a big help for me as well. Had a couple of top 5 finishes with the adults as a kid, and it was fantastic.
Well, there's many adults that support the youth, and it's so great that they allow you to play in the adult program as well. So
yeah.
Now moving into the adult program, speaking of, tell us about the transition from youth to adults.
There's really not much change other than you're playing in an adult format. The game will never change. It's just like I said, it's having confidence and believing in yourself. You're beatable. Everybody on the board is beatable. It's just whether or not you're having a good day on the board. And if you can put everything together and make it nice and smooth, and you can have a good day.
I think that's going right back to don't worry about who you're playing. If you're a youth or adult, just play the game, your game.
That's it.
Board.
And I find too, like I hit a spell where I was throwing bad scores and I was getting down on myself. It actually affects the way you play the game. If you get down on yourself, you cannot. It's hard to come out of it because the game is, well, it's darts. You don't know what's going to happen when the dart leaves your hand.
we think we do. We think we're always going to hit that treble 20, but it doesn't always work that way.
Exactly right. I threw a 9 year earlier, so.
So tell us about some of your best results at adult provincials. And I know that you did move to New Brunswick was it 2008?
2008, yes.
And how was the adult provincials in Ontario and playing in New Brunswick as well?
The caliber darts is actually pretty much about the same. There's a lot of great shooters here on the East Coast. Jeff Smith being one of them. Ricky Fortin. There's quite a few great shots here, like Adam Stala and all these guys that are playing CDC darts, and it's great. When you go into a room and you see these guys, you have to play your game. If not, it's pretty much game over, because these guys, this is what they do.
They play a lot, and they're very dedicated for sure. So
Very, very. I follow Jeff quite a bit. He's a fantastic player, and nothing but hats off to him. Wished him the best of luck going into to the Worlds.
the world, yeah. So, so what are your goals for the new season? How will you work towards those goals?
Well, with everything that's going on this year, it's kind of made it hard. Tournament play, I don't know if there's going to be much. I think it's going to be more virtual at home practice for me this year. If a tournament arises, I'm gonna go give it a shot. Whether if you got to wear a mask, you got to wear a mask. It is what it is.
Now,
You can't let it.
Yeah. Are you playing online darts then?
I am, yes.
Yeah, good.
I play on WDA. I haven't got the Dart Connect system set up yet. I'm currently working on that.
Now, in the game of darts, you have to become an expert at calculating in your head, think real fast while you're standing at that line. And you've been playing for many years, and we're always learning. But how have you been able to do so well in calculating and knowing what to hit and what to leave yourself?
Well, I watch a lot of the pros. I see them doing different combinations and things that I would not normally do, but I kind of use that as a practice tool for taking out high finishes and learning different ways that they do it and trying to apply it on my board. So it really helps with the math. And I mean, I've always been good with math on a board anyway. So it's just like a natural thing. You eventually you don't even have to think about it. You just know.
I know exactly what you mean, because when I was a youth, I became so good at math and great in school because I was just so good on the board and knowing my math.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, math is key. If you don't know your math, you can be in a little bit of trouble because you can't ask your scorekeepers. They
So who
can't
are
tell
some
you
of
what.
your, oh yes, for sure. Who are some of your supporters as you compete today?
My wife,
Yeah.
my kids, and I got a couple buddies that I hang out and we travel with to play, but that's about it. I'm pretty quiet now.
Are,
Just
are,
like
you- are your kids playing darts at all?
my daughter's throwing. My boy's a little wild right now. We're trying to home him in. He's he can't quite hit the board just yet, but it's a work in progress.
Now, being a youth player, it's really hard. Not too many people play youth darts, but did you play any other sports back in the day?
I played ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I played ball in the Brantford Minor Baseball Association League in the summertime. So did a little bit of that, and other than that, it was just hang out with friends and throw darts when I had the chance.
Well, I know life is very busy for you right now, but you're playing darts when you can. Any other hobbies that you have?
Horses. I'm into racing horses. I've got a couple standardbreds over at the barn now, 3-year-old and a couple 2-year-olds that just come in for training to be broke. So we're hoping to get them off to the racing here next May.
Now, were you doing that while you were in Ontario as well?
No, when I moved to here, I met a gentleman through the job that I was working with, and he invited me to go out for a ride, and I said sure, and I just kind of got hooked on it, and next thing I knew, I was training winners and going the fast mile, and it was just having just a blast. It's amazing how much power a horse really has.
It looks like fun. I saw some of your pictures on Facebook, and that's great.
It's a great time. It's a great time. I mean, they become your best friend. It's almost like therapy. Just you're sitting with that animal, and it's just like the whole world just disappears, and you can refocus on what's important in life.
Now, do you have a favorite opponent you love to play against? And if there's one player in the world you'd love to play, who would that be and why?
Eric Bristow. I got to play him when I was 14 years old, and he beat me, and I wasn't happy about it. I had left my darts in Sault Ste. Marie after the Nationals, and I was using my grandfather's darts, and I to this day I still rise him up about it, and said if I had my darts I might have beat him. And but no, he was a fantastic gentleman. That was the first professional dart player I had ever met in my life. And I wish I could play him again, just to just to have one more go. I met actually a couple years ago. I played Anastasia de Bramislava.
Yeah.
She was in down on the East Coast touring with Jeff, and I was actually able to sneak a best of 5 match out of her and got her. So I kind of felt a little even.
I did meet Eric way back. I worked at the World Cup of Darts in 1989. It was held at the Skyline Hotel in Toronto. So seeing some of the best players in the world at that time, Jockey Wilson, of course, Canadian Bob Seneve, Bob Anderson that was there at the Canadian Open the next year. I worked there, and it was great to meet some of these great dart players in the world.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's funny, like, we're talking about the older dart players. My very first set of darts was a set of John Lowe's, 25 gram.
Yeah, another great player.
Yeah. So
well, as we wrap this up, just one more question. Any advice that you can give to the youth of today to help follow your footsteps?
Keep your head up. Practice is key. If you want to be a successful dart player, you have to put the time into it. If not, it's going to be, your game can be either up and down. It can be up, or you don't know what's going to happen. But if you want to be successful, you have to put the time and the effort into it, and you got to love it. You can't. It's a game that if you don't love it, it will get you.
For sure, some great advice, and really appreciate this, Rob, coming on, doing an episode with us. Wish you all the best in reaching your goals, and hopefully we see you in a couple of years. It's going to be nationals in Ontario, so maybe we'll see you.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing for nationals this year. They had did our qualifier last year.
Yeah.
They had the team all set, ready to go. That was supposed to be in Nova Scotia there last year. And now with everything happening, I don't know if they're going to have a qualifier for us this year or go with the team that's already qualified.
Well, we didn't have our provincials for Ontario, so we have to do that. But it's going to be in Nova Scotia next year, so hopefully everything goes well and COVID goes away, and then
let's hope so.
Then we'll see you back in Ontario in a couple of years, and I'm sure you have lots of friends and maybe family here as well.
Absolutely, I do. I'd be loving to get back home. It's been a while.
That would be great. It'd be good to meet you, and thank you again. And you have a great night.
You too, sir. Thank you for having me. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. That was great talking to Rob Sibbick and going down memory lane for him. So now make sure you go to our website at www.dartsontario.ca to find out more information about our organization, and go to the Darts Ontario Facebook page and hit like so you get all the updates. Are you a current or former member of the Darts Ontario Youth Program? If you'd like to be on one of our episodes, please email me at youth@dartsontario.com. This is Shawn Irwin, your Darts Ontario Youth Director, and make sure you check out our next interview on episode 23 of Darts Ontario Let's Talk Darts. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.